Welcome to the 4th Dan black belt patterns tutorials. This is the first of your black belt patterns called Yong. And we've had to rearrange the room again, as you've seen, because the 4th Dan black belt patterns cover a large area of the dojang. Okay, so this pattern starts in parallel ready stance, in warrior stance, munsa, jumbisogi. So if you remember this stance from your 3rd Dan patterns, it started on the right hand side. That was warrior stance B. This is warrior stance A. So you still have your left hand in the fist, but it's on the left hand side of your body. So your left hand's a fist and your right hand finger belly is on top of your forefist. Okay? So the pattern starts with your right leg going backwards into low section reverse knife hand block. And you slide backwards, so it's with a sliding motion. In a circular motion with your hands, sliding motion with your feet, reverse knife hand low section. Then you slip your back foot backwards, slow motion with a long fist, high section. Then you slide backwards again into a guarding block with a slide. From here you jump forwards and knife hand guard, knife hand strike in L stance. And you finish a whole stance forwards. Then you're going to shift backwards into L stance with a Monchao Maki, so an X fist checking block. And then slip your front foot forwards into cross cut. Then pull your front foot back with a downward elbow strike in rear foot stance and power off your right foot into X stance with a back fist side strike high section. From there, drop your right leg out, low knife hand, outward block, and then step your right leg forwards onto your toes, hooking block, and drop and punch. And then we repeat with the left side. So sliding backwards and a circular motion with your hands. Reverse low section knife hand. Then sliding backwards with your back foot. Ready? In slow motion, long fist, high section. Then sliding motion again, slide back guarding block. From here, jumping knife hand into L stance, finishing a whole stance forwards, and then shifting back into your X checking block, your X fist checking block. From here, step your front foot into walking stance and cross cut. Pull your front leg back, rear foot stance, downward elbow strike, and power off your front foot, landing in X stance with a high section back fist side strike. Then, stepping your left leg out, low section knife hand outward block, pulling your left leg into your toes, hooking block, punch. So that's the first section to get right before you move on to the kicking section. Okay, so this section goes to the right. So your right foot comes in a little bit and show me a knife hand sanmaki. Step your left foot in front of your right foot with a horizontal twin elbow thrust, and then step into sitting stance with a straight arm checking block. Then step across again into X stance with an upward punch to the left 45. From here, you're going to do a right leg high section reverse hooking kick, straight into a high section side piercing kick, finishing with a downward back fist. So you unravel, high section, hooking kick, land, straight into a high section piercing kick, and land with a downward back fist. So at the start of the pattern, okay, it was side fists. In this section of the pattern, it is downward fists. Then step your left leg out and repeat. So knife hand sanmaki, crossover step into X stance, twin horizontal elbow thrust, stepping into sitting stance with a straight arm checking block, stepping into X stance again with an upward punch to the right 45. And then repeat with your left leg. So you're going to unravel, high section hooking kick, high section side piercing kick into a downward back fist. So you're going to unravel, high section hooking kick, high section side piercing kick, jumping into X stance with a downward back fist strike. And that's the end of that section. So learn that section first, and then you come out of this by stepping your right leg back and guarding block. Now this is the bit where everybody gets confused. I remember it by thinking left leg goes first and everything goes backwards. So I'm going to step my left leg backwards and pull my front leg into rear foot stance, and it's an inner forearm waist block, coming slightly up to hook the cup. Then I step my foot down and stamp, knife and strike, and then slide back, guarding block. And then this is where people get confused. So remember, it's your right leg now and backwards. So right leg, inner forearm waist block, which hooks up slightly. I'm going to lift my knee to the front, knife and strike. Then I'm going to pivot all the way around into a guarding block. And back to the camera. Okay, so that would be the next section to get before moving on. From here, I'm going to do a jump mid-air kick, landing a whole step forwards. And land with a knife and guard, and then repeat. Mid-air kick, land, knife and guard, a whole step forwards. Then you shift your right leg backwards, reverse knife and low section block, and then slide backwards into a reverse elbow thrust. And then repeat. Left leg back, reverse knife hand low section block, and then step your right leg back L stance, right hand side elbow thrust. And that's the end of the pattern. And you bring your right leg back into warrior stance A. Okay, so that's your pattern Yong. It's quite a nice pattern to perform, but it covers a large area, and that ends your tutorial for pattern Yong.